My name is Claire Morrison, and I'm 38 years old. On paper, my life looks exactly like the kind of neat little profile that makes mortgage officers relax and PTA moms nod approvingly. Stable income, clean credit, a modest but comfortable house in a quiet neighborhood where kids ride bikes until the streetlights come on. 2 children, our daughter is 10, our son is 8, healthy, loud, permanently sticky with juice and markers. And for a long time, I thought my marriage fit that picture too. My husband, Adam Morrison, 36, is the charming half of us. He's a real estate agent, the kind of man people describe as such a people person. He remembers birthdays, charms waiters, and can talk a couple into falling in love with a house that smells faintly of old carpet and regrets. I've always been the quieter half. I work in operations at a mid-sized company. My days are spreadsheets, contingency plans, and making sure nothing explodes when someone higher up decides to reinvent the wheel 3 days before launch. At home, it used to feel like a good division of labor. He dazzled. I stabilized. At least that's the story I like to tell myself. Until the weekend, everything cracked. It started the Thursday before. Adam came home buzzing with energy, dropping his keys in the bowl by the door. "Hey, babe," he said, kissing my cheek. "Brandon and Nick are planning a guys' weekend, just some time away. There's this resort about 3 hours out, spa, golf, that kind of thing. They invited me." Brandon is his older brother. Nick is a longtime friend. Both loud, both the "we only live once" type. "You sure it's not too last minute?" I asked, drying my hands on a dish towel. "We've got the kids' soccer games on Saturday." I know, he said. "But I've been slammed with showings. I just need a break. I can take the next Saturday games. Promise, it's only 2 nights." He looked tired, stressed. That part wasn't a lie. I glanced at my kids in the living room, arguing over whose turn it was on the game console. "We'll manage," I said. "You should go." He smiled like I'd handed him a gift. "You're the best. You know that?" I used to like how that felt. Friday night, the kids were finally asleep. Our daughter sprawled sideways across her bed, our son clinging to a stuffed dinosaur like it might escape in the night. I was sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of tea, going through emails, when my phone buzzed. A text from Adam. "Having an amazing time with the guys. Wish you were here." A selfie followed. He was in a hotel robe, a glass of whiskey in hand, big grin. The kind of picture he'd post to his story with some "work hard, play hard" caption. I smiled automatically. My thumb hovered over the keyboard to reply when something in the picture tugged at me. The background. I zoomed in. At first, I couldn't quite place what I was seeing. The resolution blurred slightly as I pinched the screen, but the shapes were clear enough. On the nightstand behind him was a watch. Not a bulky men's sports watch, not the smartwatch he wore to track his steps. This was slim, delicate, with a thin metallic band and a small face. Feminine. Expensive. Next to it, right at the edge of the frame, sat a cosmetics bag in a soft blush color, not the generic black toiletry kits guys drag around. And near the foot of the bed, half out of frame, the silhouette of heels, slender stilettos, not something Brandon or Nick would wear unless they'd changed more than their weekend plans. My heart stuttered. For a few seconds, my brain tried very, very hard to protect me. Maybe it's the hotels. Maybe the room has his stuff and someone else's. Maybe. I zoomed out. The room was clearly set for one guest. One bed, one robe, no extra suitcases in view, no second set of men's shoes. I stared at the photo so long the screen dimmed, then brightened again when I tapped it with a shaking thumb. He'd just texted me something cute, something normal, as if nothing in that room contradicted the story he'd sold me. Guys' weekend. I swallowed hard. I'm not the type to throw dishes against walls or send 20 all-caps messages. My job has trained me out of impulsive reactions. When something goes wrong in operations, panic doesn't fix it. Data does. So I forced myself to breathe. In, out. Then I typed back, "Looks fun, I'm here." I hit send before I could talk myself out of it. His reply came quickly. I stared at the screen, at those 3 question marks, like they were a confession. I didn't answer. Instead, I walked upstairs, quietly, and checked on the kids. They were still asleep, blissfully ignorant of the tectonic shift happening in the house underneath them. Then I went into the office, where our dusty old iPad lived. Adam hates remembering passwords, so I'd set up most of our shared apps. His email was still logged in. My hand shook as I opened it. There it was, reservation confirmation, Grandview Resort. I tapped it. Check-in under Adam Morrison. Guests 1. Room King Suite. I checked the dates. This weekend. The same resort he'd mentioned. The one with the guys. I opened his banking app. Another set of shared passwords for emergencies. I guess this qualified. The hotel charge was there. So was another charge at a high-end steakhouse near the resort. $287. That wasn't a burger and beers with Brandon and Nick. That was a lingering romantic dinner with wine and dessert. The number sat on the screen like a bruise. I sat in the dark office, lit only by the glow of the iPad, and felt the shape of my life warp around me. 12 years of marriage, 2 kids, a house my father left to me, my name alone on the deed, equal parts sacrifice and comfort. Had all of that really been competing with a king suite and a delicate little watch on a nightstand? My phone buzzed again with a new text from Adam. Claire, is everything okay? I ignored it. Instead, I called my sister, Michelle. Hey, she answered, voice groggy. Everything all right? I need you to watch the kids tomorrow, I said. Early, like 6 a.m. early. There was a pause. Is something wrong with one of them? Not with them, I said. My throat tightened. With Adam. Michelle exhaled slowly. I'll be there by 6. You can explain when I arrive. Thank you. I hung up before my voice could crack. The next morning, the sky was still dark when Michelle pulled into the driveway. She didn't ask many questions at first. She just hugged me at the door, hard, and said, Go do what you need to do. I'll handle the kids. I drove. 3 hours of highway and intrusive thoughts. 3 hours of remembering every late showing, every extra meeting, every moment over the past 6 months when he'd seemed more distant, and I'd told myself, he's just stressed. By the time the Grand View Resort came into view, my stomach felt like it had been hollowed out. The place was gorgeous. Arched glass, manicured grounds, the kind of lobby people take pictures of just to prove they've been there. The hotel bar opened right off the lobby. More lounge than bar, really. All soft lighting and polished wood. I walked in, forcing my legs to move at a normal, unhurried pace. From the entrance, I could see straight through to the restaurant area. And then I saw him. Adam. He was at a corner table, leaning in, laughing. His hand was resting over someone else's. Not Brandon, not Nick. A woman. She was in her mid-40s maybe, with sleek dark hair and an expensive red dress that did not say casual resort brunch. I recognized her from the few company events I'd gone to with him, back when spouses still got invited to things. Rebecca Shaw, his boss, the one he'd always described as tough, very professional, kind of intimidating. The one whose marriage he'd once called rock solid, while showing me a vacation photo from her social media. Her husband, Liam, and their 2 teenagers smiling on a beach. They were sitting close, too close. His hand covered hers, like it belonged there. Something in me went very, very still. I walked to the bar, ordered a coffee. My voice sounded calm, almost bored. The bartender smiled, oblivious, and slid the mug toward me. Then, coffee in hand, I turned and walked to the table directly next to theirs. I sat down facing them. Rebecca saw me first. She followed my line of sight, confused, then wary, her shoulders tensed. Adam was mid-laugh when he turned his head and noticed me. The color drained from his face so fast it was almost comical. White, then red, then white again. Claire, he croaked. What? What are you doing here? Hi, honey, I said pleasantly, like I'd bumped into him at the grocery store. Decided to surprise you. Boys' weekend looked fun. Rebecca's hand snapped back like my husband's skin had burned her. I sipped my coffee. Brandon and Nick running late? I asked, glancing around. I don't see them anywhere. They had to cancel, Adam stammered. Last minute. Oh? I raised an eyebrow. When? Thursday night, he said quickly. I took another slow sip. That's weird. Because you texted me yesterday about having an amazing time with the guys, even sent me a photo. From your room. Rebecca shifted in her seat. Her eyes flicked to Adam, then to me. Maybe we should... Stay, I said quietly, cutting her off without raising my voice. We're all adults here. Adam swallowed. Claire, let's talk privately. No, I said. My voice stayed pleasant, almost gentle. You brought your boss to a public place under the cover of a boys' weekend. Let's keep it public. I set my mug down carefully so my hands wouldn't betray their trembling. How long has this been going on? Adam opened his mouth, closed it. Rebecca looked like she wanted to disappear into the fancy flooring. Claire, please, he said. Not here. Here, I repeated. How long? There was a long, brittle silence. Finally, Rebecca cleared her throat. eyes fixed on the table. About 6 months. Adam turned on her so fast his chair creaked. Rebecca. 6 months, I repeated softly. That's a lot of guys' nights and late work meetings. The waiter appeared at my elbow, clearly sensing tension, but bound by customer service. Can I get you anything else, ma'am? Just the coffee, thanks, I said. I gestured vaguely at the other table. These two are together. I'm solo. His eyes flicked between us. He nodded, retreated, wisely deciding he didn't get paid enough for this. Claire, I can explain, Adam said. Can you? I asked. Can you explain why you've been lying to me and our children for 6 months? Why you're here with your married boss when you're supposed to be with your brother? Why there's a woman's watch on your nightstand and heels by your bed? It's complicated, he muttered. It's really not, I said. You're having an affair. You lied about where you were going. You sent me a picture with Rebecca's watch visible in it. That's not complicated, that's sloppy. Rebecca flinched. You came here to spy on me? Adam asked, trying on indignation like a suit that no longer fit. No, I said. I came here because my husband sent me a selfie with another woman's jewelry in it. I pulled out my phone and unlocked it. Claire, what are you doing? He asked, panic bleeding into his voice. What you should have done 6 months ago, I said, telling the truth. I opened Liam Shaw's Facebook. It wasn't hard to find. Rebecca had been tagged in countless family photos, Liam with his arm around her, their teenagers smiling beside them. The perfect couple. I tapped message. Claire, please don't, Rebecca whispered, genuine fear in her eyes now. This doesn't have to. It already did, I replied. I typed, Hi, Liam. You don't know me, but your wife Rebecca is having an affair with my husband Adam. They're currently at the Grandview Resort together. I have photos if you need proof. I'm sorry to tell you this way, but you deserve to know. I signed it. Claire Morrison. Attached the selfie Adam had sent me, with the watch clearly in frame. Then I hit send. Rebecca's hand flew to her mouth. Adam stared at me like I'd set fire to the tablecloth. You've ruined everything, Rebecca whispered. I looked at her, then at Adam. No, I said calmly. You two did that. I'm just the one refusing to live in your lie. For a long moment after I hit send, no one moved. The only sounds were the clink of glasses from other tables and the low murmur of strangers wrapped in their own lives, oblivious to the fact that mine had just split down the middle. Adam found his voice first. Claire, what the hell is wrong with you? I tilted my head. You're asking that question from the side of the table where the affair is happening. You sure you want to go with that angle? Can we please talk about this upstairs? He hissed. Privately? I looked at Rebecca. Her face was ashen, eyes bright with shock. You have kids, Rebecca? She hesitated. 2, 16 and 14. My stomach twisted. I hope, for their sake, that their father hears this from me, and not from a hotel clerk calling to say his wife left something behind. Rebecca flinched again. Adam pushed back his chair. I'm not doing this with an audience. You already did, I said, standing up smoothly. You just didn't invite me to the first half. I set a few bills on the table for my coffee. My hands were steady. It surprised me. I'm going home to our children, Adam. You can figure out what's left of your weekend. Claire. I walked away. I didn't look back. The drive home felt like a dream someone else was having. 3 hours of road, the landscape blurring past while my mind replayed 12 years of small moments, now all out of order. The way he'd come home some nights smelling like a cologne I didn't buy. The extra late showings. The sudden guardedness with his phone. I'd noticed, and then I'd smoothed over the noticing, because the alternative hurt too much. My phone buzzed constantly in the cup holder. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to read his messages to know the progression. Panic, excuses, blame, bargaining. I see enough crisis patterns at work to recognize one in my own life. By the time I pulled into our driveway, my tea from the night before was still sitting cold on the counter where I'd left it, life frozen mid-step, waiting to see which way it would fall. Michelle was on the couch with the kids. A movie paused on the screen. Our daughter, Emily, 10, and our son, James, 8, were mid-argument about popcorn when they saw me. Mom, James barreled into me. You're back early. Hey, buddy. I hugged him tight, breathing in the sticky sweet smell of syrup and shampoo. Yeah, change of plans. Emily gave me a suspicious look that was way too sharp for her age. Did something happen? Just grown-up stuff, I said. Nothing you need to worry about right now. Her eyes searched my face. I tried to arrange my features into something that wasn't breaking. Michelle came over, eyebrows raised in a silent question. I shook my head slightly. Later. Why don't you two finish your movie with Aunt Michelle? I said. I need to talk to her for a minute in the kitchen. In the kitchen, once the swinging door closed behind us, Michelle folded her arms. Well? I exhaled. He's having an affair. Her face hardened so fast it was like watching concrete set. With who? His boss, I said. Rebecca Shaw, married, 2 teenage kids. Of course it's the boss. Michelle paced once, then stopped. How long? 6 months, I said quietly, at least. They admitted it. She swore under her breath. What are you going to do? I already did one thing, I said. I messaged her husband, Liam, sent him the proof. Michelle nodded slowly, almost approvingly. Good. I'm not keeping this secret for them, I added. Saying it out loud made something inside me lock into place. And I'm not living with him. Michelle glanced toward the hallway, toward the framed family photos. Do you want us to go? No, I said. Stay with the kids, please. I just need an hour. The next hour was a blur of motion. I grabbed suitcases from the closet, the ones we used for family trips, and started packing Adam's essentials, clothes, toiletries, a couple pairs of shoes, his laptop bag. I didn't touch his sentimental stuff or his boxes in the garage. I wasn't erasing him. I was just relocating him. By the time I zipped the last suitcase, my phone finally went silent. I checked the screen. Dozens of texts. Claire. Pick up. We can talk about this. You're overreacting. It's not what you think. Please call me. Don't message Liam, I can explain. You're going to blow up 2 families over one mistake. Answer me. I'm on my way home. Do not do anything stupid. I stared at that last one until my vision went sharp again. 1 mistake. 6 months of lies. 1 mistake. Michelle stuck her head into the bedroom. The kids are asking when Dad's coming home. My chest hurt. Tell them. He'll see them soon. I'll explain later. She nodded, studied my face. You sure about this? The house is mine, I said quietly. Dad left it to me. Adam's not on the deed. He doesn't get to cheat on me and then sleep under my roof like it's all negotiable. Michelle walked over and squeezed my shoulder. Then you're doing the right thing. The front door opened 30 minutes later. Claire, Adam's voice echoed through the hallway. Claire, we need to talk. I stepped out of the bedroom, closing the door behind me so the kids wouldn't see the suitcases yet. He looked wrecked. Not in the way I wanted. No visible lightning strike of regret. Just rumpled, unshaven, furious. Hi, I said calmly. Your stuff's in the living room. He followed my gaze, and his face contorted when he saw the luggage lined up near the door. What is this? Your essentials, I said. You can schedule a time to come get the rest, with notice. You can't be serious. Dead serious. His voice rose. This is my home too, Claire. No, I said evenly. Legally, it's not. It's my home, my dad's house, my name on the deed, my name on the mortgage. You are not on anything. He jabbed a finger toward the hallway. My kids are here. Our kids, I corrected, whom you lied to for 6 months. I am not leaving, he said. I'm not going anywhere. I shrugged. Then I guess you'll need to explain to the police why you're refusing to leave a property you don't own. His eyes widened. You wouldn't. I picked up my phone. He watched me dial. 911, what's your emergency? The operator asked. I kept my voice calm. Hi, I'm at my residence. I own the property. I've asked my husband to leave after discovering his ongoing affair. He's refusing to leave the house. That got their attention. 2 officers showed up about half an hour later. One older, clearly tired of domestic calls. One younger, silently taking in the details. Ma'am, the older one said, can you show me proof you own the property? I handed him a folder I'd pulled from the filing cabinet, already open to the deed. My father left it to me. Adam's name isn't on it. Adam hovered nearby, vibrating with outrage. This is insane. I'm her husband. I have rights. The officer scanned the document, then looked at me. And you want him to leave? Yes, I said. He's welcome to arrange visitation with the kids in a reasonable way, but he is not living here anymore. The older officer turned to Adam. Sir, this is technically a civil matter, but if you're not on the deed and your wife— Ex, I said quietly. Soon to be ex. If your wife is the sole owner, she can ask you to leave the premises. Adam stared at him. You're just going to throw me out of my own home? It's not your home, the officer said, patient but firm. At least not according to the paperwork. Adam rounded on me. You're abusing me. You're financially abusing me. You're using your stupid inheritance like a weapon. I felt a flicker of bitter amusement. No, you use my trust like a weapon. I'm just setting down the shield I should have had all along. The younger officer shifted awkwardly. Sir, you can take the suitcases now. If you refuse to leave, this could escalate into trespassing. Nobody wants that. Adam's jaw clenched so hard I half expected to hear something crack. Finally, he grabbed the suitcase handles. This isn't over, he snapped. No, I agreed. It's just starting. He slammed the door behind him. The silence that followed was loud. Later that night, after the kids were in bed, after I'd told them that Dad was staying somewhere else for a while, and watched Emily's face crumple and James's mouth set in a stubborn line, my phone lit up with a number I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it. Then I remembered the message I'd sent from that hotel table. Hello? A man's voice, shaky, on the other end. Is this Claire? Claire Morrison? Yes. This is Liam Shaw. My hand tightened on the phone. I got your message, and he said. I could hear the strain in every word. And the photo. I just wanted to hear from you directly, to make sure. That it wasn't a mistake? I asked softly. I wish I could tell you it was. He exhaled, a broken little sound. How long? They admitted to 6 months, I said. I think it's been longer, but that's what they said. Rebecca told me she was at a leadership retreat this weekend. His voice cracked on the word leadership. She said there were back-to-back sessions. No spouses allowed. I closed my eyes. I could see her red dress like a stain. I'm sorry, I said. And I meant it, in a way that surprised me. Don't apologize, he said. You did the right thing. Most people wouldn't have told me. Most people don't want to be the messenger, I replied. But you deserve to know when someone rewrites your life without your consent. There was a shaky laugh on the line, humorless. Yeah, I guess we're in the same boat now. Two strangers, tethered by the same explosion. We talked for almost an hour, about nothing and everything, about kids and mortgages and how mundane the last normal day had been. When we finally hung up, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text from Adam. You destroyed 2 families. You happy now? I stared at it for a long moment. Then I typed back, No, you destroyed 2 families. I just refused to hide it. The next morning felt unreal, like my house was both too quiet and too loud at the same time. The sunlight was creeping through the blinds, turning the kitchen into a calm, golden picture that didn't match the chaos inside me. Michelle had already left for work after getting the kids ready for school. She'd left a note on the counter. Call me if he shows up. Proud of you, M. I stood there for a long time staring at those words. Proud of you. I didn't feel proud. I felt gutted. By mid-morning, my phone started buzzing again. Not Adam this time. Liam. He texted first. Rebecca's been served. She tried to tell me it was a misunderstanding. I sent her your photo. Silent since. Thank you. I didn't reply right away. There wasn't anything to say that didn't sound like an apology or a condolence, and neither would fix what had been broken. When I finally did reply, it was short. You deserve the truth. He responded, So did you. By afternoon, the first wave of fallout hit. Adam's sister Carla called me, furious. How could you throw him out like that, she demanded before I could even say hello. He's devastated, Claire. You embarrassed him in front of everyone. Did he tell you why? I asked. He said you went crazy, that you showed up at some resort and humiliated him in public. That's a version, I said. The truth is he was there with his boss, his married boss. Carla went quiet. Rebecca? She finally whispered. Yes. A long exhale. I thought, then, sharper. So you messaged her husband? Yes. Another silence, colder this time. You didn't have to blow up her marriage, too. I didn't blow up anything, I said evenly. I just turned on the lights. Carla muttered something about needing time to process and hung up. I stared at the phone, realizing for the first time that betrayal isn't just what one person does. It's how everyone around you chooses to react to it. Some pick sides. Some pretend not to see. Some blame the one who exposed it. 2 days later, Adam showed up again. He didn't knock. He just stood on the porch until I noticed the shadow through the window. I opened the door halfway, careful not to let him in. He looked worse, unshaven, eyes bloodshot, wearing the same wrinkled clothes from the day he'd left. Claire, please, he said, voice rough. Can we just talk? You've been texting me nonstop, I said. What more is there to say? He ran a hand through his hair. I lost everything. That tends to happen when you gamble everything, I said quietly. They fired me, he blurted. Rebecca, too. HR said it was a conflict of interest and a breach of ethics. She's threatening to sue the company. I folded my arms. You two really make a great team. He flinched. I'm serious, Claire. I have no job, no home, and you're freezing me out. I need help. No, I said, you need consequences. He blinked. You're enjoying this. That hit harder than it should have. Do you think I'm enjoying watching my kids ask where their father is? Watching everything I built with you burn down because you couldn't be honest? I made a mistake, he said again, quieter this time. You made a 6-month series of decisions, I corrected. You lied to me, to your boss's husband, to our children. You planned trips, dinners, weekends. That's not a mistake. That's maintenance. He looked away, jaw tight. Rebecca says you're vindictive. I almost laughed. Rebecca says that because she's terrified her husband might get the same idea I did, to start seeing the truth clearly. He looked back at me then, something desperate flickering in his eyes. I love you, Claire. No, I said, and this time I felt calm. You love being comfortable. You love being forgiven. Those are different things. He opened his mouth, closed it again. His silence was a kind of confession. You should go, I said finally, before the kids get home. He hesitated like he wanted to argue, but I just stepped back and closed the door. I stood there, forehead against the cool wood, breathing slowly until I could hear the quiet hum of my own house again. That night, my phone buzzed with a message from Liam. She moved out. Said she's staying with her sister. I can't even look at her right now. You holding up? I stared at the screen for a long moment, then typed, I'm getting there. He replied almost instantly, You're stronger than you think. I didn't know if that was true, but I wanted it to be. The days blurred after that. Forms, lawyers, awkward school mornings. I met with an attorney, Harold Brennan, a no-nonsense older man recommended by Liam. He read through the situation with a faint smile that wasn't quite amusement. The house is yours, he said, tapping the file. Inherited property isn't marital. He can't touch it. I don't want to take more than what's fair, I said. Good attitude, he said, but don't mistake fairness for weakness. He'll try to paint you as cold and cruel. He'll use the kids, maybe social media. Stay calm. Document everything. I nodded. He already started the social media part. Oh? Harold arched a brow. He posted about being thrown out with nothing and tagged half his family, then deleted it an hour later. Classic, Harold said. Screenshots? I showed him. He smiled grimly. You'll be fine. When I left his office, I sat in the car for a few minutes before starting the engine. For the first time since the hotel, I felt like I wasn't just reacting. I was rebuilding. Of course, Adam wasn't done. 2 mornings later, I woke up to 20 unread notifications. He'd posted on Facebook again. After 12 years of marriage, my wife kicked me out with nowhere to go. She's using her inheritance to punish me. I just want to see my kids. The comments section was already a battlefield. His friends were chiming in with, Stay strong, man. Mine were silent. Watching, waiting. I scrolled down, shaking my head, until I saw a familiar name. Michelle. She'd commented, Didn't you forget to mention your affair with your married boss, Adam? 6 months, wasn't it? Want me to post the photo? Within 10 minutes, the post was deleted. I texted her. You didn't have to do that. She replied, Oh, I absolutely did. I laughed, a small, tired sound, and realized it was the first time I'd laughed in weeks. That evening, I posted something myself. Just one photo. The same selfie Adam had sent me, the same delicate watch circled in red. No caption, just the image. Within an hour, the comments rolled in. People understood. No shouting, no defense, just clarity. By midnight, the storm had burned itself out. For the first time, the truth didn't need my voice to stand. It spoke for itself. The next day, Adam texted me again. You ruined my life. I stared at the message, then typed back. No, you ruined your own life. I just stopped pretending it wasn't happening. 3 days later, the phone rang again. This time it wasn't Adam, it was his mother. Claire, she said, skipping right past hello. Her tone had that brittle sweetness that always meant trouble. I heard what happened. Adam told us everything. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring out at the gray November sky. Did he tell you everything? He said you overreacted, that you embarrassed him in front of his colleagues, and now he's lost his job. I swallowed a dry laugh. He lost his job because he was sleeping with his boss, not because I walked into a hotel bar. Claire, she said, voice sharpening, people make mistakes. Marriages go through rough patches. You've always been so unforgiving. That word hit me like a slap. Unforgiving. I almost told her everything. The text, the lies, the red dress. But I stopped myself. I was done explaining his actions to the people who'd raised him to think consequences were optional. Thanks for calling, I said. But I'm not discussing this with anyone who thinks betrayal is a rough patch. She huffed. You'll regret this, Claire. You're tearing your family apart. No, I said softly. Adam did that. I'm just cleaning up the mess. Then I hung up. By the following week, Adam's spiral had picked up speed. The more he tried to control the narrative, the more it slipped through his fingers. Mutual friends stopped calling. His colleagues unfollowed him. Real estate clients canceled showings. And Rebecca, his ex-boss, had gone radio silent. Liam texted me midweek. Rebecca filed for separation. Apparently, she tried to blame everything on Adam, but HR had the email trail. He's out. She's out. It's ugly. I typed back. It usually is, he replied. Funny how we both thought we were married to people who just worked late. I stared at that for a while, realizing that a shared tragedy can create a strange kind of companionship, one built not on romance, but on understanding. Friday morning, my lawyer, Harold, called. Good news, he said. I filed the initial divorce petition. Since there's clear evidence of adultery, it gives us leverage. I don't expect a fight over the house, but brace for emotional theatrics. I sighed. He's been leaning hard on that already. Harold chuckled. Then you're halfway there. Keep documenting everything. Texts, calls, any attempts to guilt you. Judges see right through that. After we hung up, I looked around the kitchen, the one room that had always felt safe, the faint smell of coffee, the kids' drawings taped to the fridge, the steady hum of the dishwasher. I realized how much peace costs and how worth paying for it can be. The following day, Adam texted again, but this time the tone was different. Can we meet? Please, just talk. I need to see the kids. I debated ignoring it. Then, after thinking about what Harold said, documenting everything, I replied, Tomorrow 10 a.m. public place, McDonald's on 3rd Street. He responded instantly. McDonald's? Seriously? You want something fancier, you can pay for it, I wrote back. There was no reply. Sunday morning, I got the kids ready and drove to the McDonald's. Adam was already there, waiting in a booth near the window. He looked smaller somehow, or maybe it was just that the bravado had finally worn off. Dad! James ran ahead, throwing himself into Adam's arms. Emily followed, slower, wary. Adam smiled, forced, but at least it reached his eyes for a second. Hey, kiddo. You've both grown in a week. I sat at a separate table nearby, giving them space, but keeping them within sight. They talked about school, about the upcoming winter fair. The kids asked innocent questions, the kind that stabbed straight through you. When are you coming home, Daddy? Emily asked. He froze. Soon, he said. I just need to figure some things out first. James frowned. Mom says you're living somewhere else now. I am, for a little while, he said. But I'll see you a lot, I promise. Emily looked down at her fries. I miss when we were all together. Adam swallowed hard, then glanced at me. For a moment, there was something like shame in his eyes. When the hour was up, he hugged them both tightly. Then, as they went to refill their drinks, he turned to me. Rebecca and I are done, he said. I figured. She blames me for everything. Says if I hadn't sent that photo, her life wouldn't have fallen apart. I raised an eyebrow. You mean my photo, the one I received? He sighed. You know what I mean. She's not wrong, I said. She just left out the part where you both built the fuse yourselves. He looked at me, hollow-eyed. I made a mistake, Claire. I know that. I know I hurt you. I hurt the kids. But I'm trying to fix it. You can't fix it, I said. You can only own it. He blinked. So that's it? You're never going to forgive me? I thought about it, really thought. Then I said, forgiveness isn't the same as pretending it didn't happen. I can forgive you someday, but that doesn't mean you get me back. He looked like he wanted to argue, but Emily came running up with her Happy Meal toy, proud and breathless. Look, Mom, Dad, it's a tiny fox. Her joy was pure, untouched by any of this. And I realized that was what I needed to protect, that innocence. Not my pride, not my image, just them. That night, when the kids were asleep, I got another message from Liam. She tried calling me, said she misses the life we had. Funny, she didn't miss it while she was throwing it away. I replied, Adam said something similar today. I think regret sounds the same in every voice. He sent back, You holding up? Trying, I wrote. Kids keep me grounded. If you ever need to vent, I make decent coffee. Careful, I texted back. That's how rumors start. He replied with a single emoji, the kind that smiles but doesn't quite reach the eyes. And I realized I didn't mind the idea of having coffee with someone who understood what it meant to rebuild from rubble. Weeks passed. The divorce paperwork moved forward quietly, efficiently, the way Harold liked. Adam didn't contest the house. He couldn't. He asked for joint custody, and I agreed, because the kids deserved their father, even if I didn't recognize him anymore. Rebecca vanished from town. Rumor said she'd gone to stay with family out of state. Liam was pushing for full custody of their teens. Adam found a job at a smaller agency, but I could tell from the way he texted that the shine had worn off his confidence. The man who once charmed entire rooms now couldn't even charm his own reflection. Every now and then, he'd text, "Do you ever miss me?" And every time I'd look at the message, feel the ache, and then type, "I miss who I thought you were." 3 months after the hotel, the divorce was nearly final. I kept the house, the stability, the kids' laughter echoing through the same walls my father had built. Adam got a fraction of our savings, enough to start over, not enough to rebuild the fantasies he'd lost. No alimony, no more illusions. He still tried, sometimes, to stir the ashes. A text here, a question there. "Do you hate me?" he asked one night. I stared at the screen for a long time, then replied, "No, I nothing you." He didn't respond. And that was the moment I realized something important. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And that's exactly what I felt. Quiet, steady, absolute. Last week, Liam and I met for coffee. Nothing romantic, just two people sitting across from each other, both a little older, a little wiser, a little more scarred. He told me Rebecca had emailed him again, long, tearful, filled with apologies. He didn't reply. "She still doesn't understand," he said, stirring his cup. "Sorry isn't the same as accountability." I nodded. "It never is." He smiled faintly. "You know what's funny? The hotel called me last month, said they found a watch in the suite she'd stayed in. Apparently, no one ever came back to claim it." I blinked. "The same watch?" "Yeah, they held it for a while, then donated it to charity." He shook his head. $30,000 watch, gone. I smiled. "Fitting, isn't it? They threw away everything valuable and can't get it back." He met my eyes. "And you? You get to start over." I looked out the window, where the morning light hit the street just right, and said quietly, "I already have."